Today, and joining us now on the line, Sheriff Mark Lamb of Pinal County, Arizona, known as the American Sheriff. Good afternoon, Sheriff. Thanks for joining Middays.
Thank you for having me on. I appreciate it.
Yes, sir. So you are scheduled to speak tonight in Desoto County, Mississippi at the Reagan Day dinner.
Yes, sir. I'm looking forward to it. I'm excited to be out here.
Well, I'm headed that way. I got a table of 10, and we're headed up from central Mississippi, and look forward to the event tonight. So we'll definitely see you there, and we appreciate you coming into Mississippi to speak.
Well, I appreciate the opportunity. I promise I'll try not to disappoint you.
I guarantee you won't. So I've seen you, on the news channel a couple of times, always insightful and entertaining. First, tell our audience exactly where the county where you serve as sheriff is located in Arizona.
Yeah, absolutely. So our county is between Phoenix and Tucson. We are 5,400 square miles, which is the size of the state of Connecticut.
Yep.
We have 650 employees, and we're a full-service sheriff's office. So, we patrol the streets. We run a 1,500-bed jail.
Wow.
We've got quite a big county. There's only 15 counties in Arizona, so
yeah.
All of the counties in Arizona are large land-wise, and we're the third largest population-wise and agency size-wise.
So as I recall, it's sort of situated between south of like Mesa, Chandler, the Phoenix area, but just north of Tucson. Is that right?
That's right. So we're just south of Chandler, and we go all the way down to the top of Tucson. We are not on the border, but we are to the south end of our county is an Indian reservation, and so that Indian reservation actually goes into Mexico. It crosses over the border into Mexico. So we become basically the de facto border once they come off through the reservation right into our county. And we also have the I-8 and the I-10 interstates that run right through the heart of our county, which is the heart of the cartel. They are one of the main arteries the cartel uses for transporting their product, which is humans and drugs, into this country.
Yeah. So let's talk about that because we've got this Title 42. We've been talking about that a fair amount on the program, including today. That's scheduled to be overturned. That was a Trump-era policy that gave Border Patrol and those agencies some degree of latitude and just turning away these folks that just pour in across the border for health reasons and health purposes. And that's scheduled to end, at least the Biden administration has announced that tentatively at this point. And all the reports are that the folks looking to stream into the country are just waiting for that day, and they're getting just positioned out there to come on in.
Well, that's the truth. And, I'm a little conflicted on this, and hopefully your listeners listen to why I'm conflicted on it. For one, it has to do with COVID.
Yeah.
So Title 42 was a temporary thing, and I want COVID to go away. And it's hard to ask the airlines and the airports to do away with COVID restrictions, but then want to hold on to something else that has to do with COVID.
Yeah.
The reason we're fighting so hard to keep it, though, is because it's the only thing the federal government's left as a tool to be able to send these people back. What we should be doing is enforcing Title 8, which they did away with, which Title 8 was about illegal immigration. There are laws on the books already that prohibit coming into this country illegally, and we need to go back to those. That's what we should be talking about, is not just saying, hey, we don't want Title 42 to go away. We should be saying, let's go back to the actual titles that are in place already to keep people from coming to this country illegally. It is, when you remove Title 42, because of, especially with all the media hype we've seen recently, they're going to send a message throughout the world that it's open season at our borders, and you're going to see tremendous number increases. And we're already at an unsustainable rate, whether it's human beings coming to this country or dangerous drugs like methamphetamine and fentanyl. It will be a disaster, but look, Title 42 is not meant to be permanent.
Right.
It's just sad that the government's not doing their job, and we're holding on. We're grasping to whatever we can right now to protect our communities.
Yeah, that's a great
Title 42 is all we got.
Great point, and I totally agree with you. The fact is, we're not able to, or don't seem to have an interest of enforcing our laws on our border. to keep folks out that enter illegally. And so you're right. The various immigration authorities just latched on to something. And honestly, I think that's one of the main reasons Donald Trump enacted it, was to give them at least some degree of tools, because they wouldn't build a wall to try to keep them out. So you're right. We shouldn't do it on the basis of COVID. That is a bit of a double standard. Rather, we should be focused on those laws, those regulations, those tools we do have from a law enforcement perspective. But there's no inclination to do that. It seems like this administration wants totally open borders, best I can tell.
Well, they do. They want to undermine the rule of law. They told you in 2020 they wanted to reinvent America. Now, I don't know what what your listeners thought they meant, but I'll tell you what I thought they meant. It set off alarms in my head. It says when you want to reinvent something, you got to tear it down and build it back up. And one of the things I'll talk about tonight is the strength of the rule of law in America and how important it is, and it's what makes America great. And what a better way to undermine the rule of law than to completely open the borders. It creates lawlessness in our communities. The very first message you send to these people coming to this country illegally is that our laws don't matter. And then we have people coming from who knows where with who knows what kind of diseases or criminal backgrounds or what kind of intentions they have towards America. And then all the while, they're raping the women, they're using the children as pawns, they're extorting the men, and then they're bringing dangerous drugs into our community. Fentanyl is now the leading killer of American civilians between the ages of 18 and 45, and we know it good and darn well where it's coming from.
Yeah.
And our federal government is doing nothing to stop it.
Yeah, it's exactly. I saw a report the other day that said that 155 countries are represented amongst those that are streaming across the border illegal. 155.
155 countries, and you got to believe that not everybody has good intentions towards America. Not all these people want to come here and assimilate into the American way of life and respect and love what this country was built on, and the sacrifices made by our founding fathers and so many other men and women who put their lives on the line to give us the freedoms we have. They don't feel the same love for that we do.
Right.
But at the same token, if you think that America is not the greatest country in the world, just look at how many people are trying to come across this border on a daily basis.
Exactly.
And that ought to tell you that the mainstream media is full of crap, and so are the politicians that try to tell you this is a terrible country.
I agree.
It is still the greatest country in the world, and freedom is still available here, and people are flocking to it in a world full of chaos. They are still flocking to America because we are that last bastion of freedom.
So true. You know, I've seen so many accounts, Sheriff, of unaccompanied children. Heard one this morning, a 2-year-old was found. 2-year-old just dropped off. It breaks my heart.
Yeah, they're using these kids as pawns. They steal these kids, or they purchase them at the threat of violence from families on the other side of the border. I was talking to a congresswoman from another state, a Democrat congresswoman, and you could tell that she's been fed these talking points. And she says, well, what about all the children that are being separated from the family? The reality is that 90+% of these children that are coming across are not coming with families.
Right.
They're being attached to a family. The cartel is putting them with families. And then once they get across the border, they cast them aside like a used pair of shoes. And then we have to deal with these kids because we don't know who their parents are, where they came from. So the cartels are using these kids as pawns. They're also abusing these kids, raping these kids. It's a disaster, and the longer we as Americans allow this to happen on our southern border, these same people that want to open borders are also trying to pretend like they care about humans.
Right.
But if you do care about humans, you should absolutely care about border security, because that's what's going on down there.
It's really honestly, it's gut wrenching. It's heartbreaking to see what's going on with respect to the children, especially. But there just doesn't seem to be any attempt. We can't get the border czar, the vice president of the United States, to physically go to the border, to witness it, to experience it. A number of those from Congress, sitting in Congress, have, but it just seems to fall on deaf ears. Can't seem to make any progress. Terrible.
Yeah, and not just our vice president. She's failed the American people as the borders are, but our president. I heard that the last time that he went to the border, which was actually El Paso, was in 2008.
Wow.
He was the vice president.
Wow.
So not only did he not care as a vice president, he doesn't care as a president. This is not an important issue to him. And honestly, it's one of those things that if you don't look at it, you can say it's not a problem.
Yep.
But the reality is the American people
Pathetic.
are feeling it. And we're feeling this is not going to help.
No.
Rent's going to continue to increase. It creates a lot of difficult situations all across the board.
Appreciate you coming on, and look forward to seeing you tonight. Sheriff Mark Lamb of Pinal County, Arizona. Take care, sir. We'll see you.
Thank you. God bless Mississippi.
Thank you. We'll be right back on Midday.